So I started learning just a little bit, just little critical things. The word Xenu was kind of around, but I was like, nope, because I believed that confidential upper level material would kill me. I really believed that. So I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I did not want to endanger my future in Scientology by screwing around on the internet. So I was really trying to be a good Scientologist and a good Sea Org member. And some of these things were slipping through, but they were, I was doing okay. But as time went on, a couple more things slipped through. And then what finally did it, was...
Wait, can I jump in and ask something? So like I was introduced to the Xenu stuff from that South Park episode. Do you remember what year that South Park episode came out?
2005, I think.
And what year are we at with you right now in your
2000? We're up to 2011.
So this is 6 years after the Scientology episode on South Park comes out. Mormons know about the Xenu thing, but Scientologists either don't know about the Xenu thing or they know some rumblings about it, but they're scared to think about it or talk about it because of this perception that they're going to die if they talk or think about it?
Yes.
And again, remind us, you mentioned this before. How do you come to believe you're going to die if you think or talk about the Xenu thing?
L. Ron Hubbard said so. He specifically said it in the Xenu narrative. I mean, it's written in the materials, and that little bit is passed on. You're not told. How do I put this? Different people have different experiences with this, okay? But basically, you are indoctrinated in Scientology that the upper levels of Scientology exist. You know all about them. You know that they're there to be done. But you don't know a single thing that is on them, that's in them. You don't know the contents of those levels at all. And you are told over and over again that it is extremely powerful information, that if you're not ready for it, you can get sick or you can die or other horrible things can happen to you spiritually that you just don't want happening to you. So it's just kind of understood. I mean, it's very quickly understood in Scientology that that's not for you yet. And if you're not ready for it, it's dangerous. You're told that there's this area of the grade chart between the level of clear and OT3 specifically that is called the no interference zone, where all you're supposed to do as a Scientologist after you go clear is get your ass to OT3 as fast as possible because you are in spiritual danger if you don't hurry up and get that done. I mean, that's how it's written. So there's all this mystique and sort of cultural lore in the world of Scientology connected to these OT levels. So you just come to an understanding that until you're ready for it, you don't want to look at that stuff. And when you're ready for it, they'll give it to you, but you got to get yourself up to a level where you're going to be ready for it. Because if you're not, you're just going to be damaging yourself and potentially worse. So that was my understanding of it as a Sea Org member.
And again, we covered this in the earlier episodes, but that's very reminiscent of the Mormon temple ceremony and the endowment ceremony and even the second anointing and the death oaths that we would reenact as Mormons to make us fear ever divulging these top secret things that really weren't that interesting or real or valuable, but the church needs sacredness. They need things at the pinnacle of their ritual or theology that can be sacred. And the only way to make them sacred is to have these super harsh penalties if anybody divulges or reveals them. And the Masons did it too. And it sounds like that's what you guys did. But the other point that's just mind-blowing, and I get this in Mormonism still in 2019, we can have Mormon stories existing for 14 years. We can have CES letter existing for 7 years or however long it's been out now, maybe 6 years. We can have Fawn Brody's book going back to 1945, but still the vast majority of Mormons are oblivious to all of it. And that's how it is in Scientology as well.
Exactly. It's sacred lore, and you just buy into the rules of it because those are the rules. You don't know what it is. There's endless guessing game within the lower levels of Scientology as to what OT3 and the OT levels are all about, right? Endless numbers of guesses. I spent years conjecturing what it could all be about. And I studied and studied and studied everything I could get my hands on that Hubbard had talked about that wasn't confidential in an effort to try to reverse engineer or figure out what it could be. I mean, I was glued to this thing. This was something I was introduced to very early on as a Scientologist. And I am not big on mysteries. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know. I don't savor the anticipation of finding out. I want to know. I want the spoilers. I want to know. Yeah. So for 27 years, right, I had been like glued to this mystery of what is OT3. So, I was trying to figure stuff out, but I was still believing that I needed to police myself on this stuff, right? So I didn't want to know. I wanted to know, but I wanted to find out the right way.
And again, yeah. So this South Park episode that blasts Scientology deep secret theology to the whole world existed 6 or 7 years before your awakening.
Correct.
Okay.
And I did not watch it because I knew I'd only just sort of heard that it had happened. Not when I was in the RPF when it happened, because I was obviously not connected to the outside world. I had no clue what was going on. But when I got on the internet, I heard that South Park had done this episode and that Isaac Hayes had quit the show as a result. Well, I was on the Scientology side. So for me, Isaac Hayes was the hero of that story. Trey and Matt were a couple of dicks, right? That was my view as a Scientologist. So I didn't want to have anything to do with that South Park episode. I wasn't going to watch that thing. Just a bunch of lies, just a bunch of crap.